The Alaska-class cruisers were a unique class of warships built for the United States Navy during World War II. These ships were larger and more heavily armed than standard heavy cruisers, blurring the lines between cruiser and battleship classifications. The Alaska class represented a new concept in naval warfare designed to counter a specific threat posed by Japanese supercruisers. The Alaskas were conceived as a response to intelligence reports of large Japanese cruisers being constructed. These Japanese ships, armed with 12-inch guns, posed a significant threat to Allied cruisers. The United States Navy needed a ship that could match the firepower and speed of these supercruisers while still maintaining the versatility of a cruiser. The result was the Alaska class, a class of 6 planned ships, of which only 2, USS Alaska and USS Guam, were completed. These ships were designated as large cruisers or battle cruisers by some, reflecting their unique position in the naval hierarchy. Their construction was a testament to the industrial might of the United States during World War II. The Alaska-class cruisers were formidable warships, embodying the American ambition to dominate the seas. Their story is one of innovation, strategic thinking, and the ever-evolving nature of naval warfare. Though their service in World War II was limited, their existence had a profound impact on the naval balance of power. The Alaska-class cruisers were designed to be fast, powerful, and heavily armed. Their design was a significant departure from previous US cruiser designs, incorporating features from both cruisers and battleships. The result was a ship that was larger, faster, and more heavily armed than any other cruiser in the US Navy. The Alaskas displaced over 30,000 tons fully loaded, making them significantly larger than the preceding Baltimore-class heavy cruisers. They were also longer, measuring over 700 feet in length. Their size allowed them to accommodate a powerful propulsion system that could drive them to speeds in excess of 30 knots, making them faster than most battleships of the time. The most striking feature of the Alaska class was their armament. They were armed with 9 12-inch guns mounted in 3 triple turrets, giving them a firepower advantage over any other cruiser class. These guns were the same caliber as those found on many battleships, allowing the Alaskas to engage enemy capital ships at long range. In addition to their main armament, the Alaskas also carried a heavy secondary battery of 12 5-inch dual-purpose guns, providing them with a formidable anti-aircraft capability. The Alaska class represented a unique hybrid concept in naval warfare, bridging the gap between heavy cruisers and fast battleships. Their design was a response to the specific threat posed by Japanese supercruisers, but it also reflected a broader trend in naval thinking towards larger, more powerful cruisers. The Alaskas were designed to fulfill multiple roles. They were intended to serve as cruiser killers, capable of hunting down and destroying enemy heavy cruisers. Their speed and firepower made them ideal for this role, allowing them to dictate the terms of engagement. In addition to their cruiser-killing role, the Alaskas were also envisioned as fast carrier escorts. Their speed and anti-aircraft armament made them well suited for protecting carrier task forces from air attacks. The hybrid nature of the Alaska class led to some debate about their classification. Some naval historians classify them as battle cruisers, while others consider them to be large cruisers. Regardless of their classification, the Alaskas were a unique and formidable class of warships that embodied the changing nature of naval warfare in the 20th century. Section 4. Operational History, a limited but significant role. Despite their impressive capabilities, the Alaska-class cruisers had a relatively limited operational history during World War II. This was due in part to their late completion date, as both ships were commissioned in mid-1944 when the war in the Pacific was already in its later stages. Additionally, the strategic situation had shifted by the time the Alaskas were ready for combat. The threat from Japanese supercruisers had diminished, and the US Navy's focus had shifted towards carrier operations and amphibious landings. As a result, the Alaskas were primarily deployed in support roles, providing anti-aircraft screening for carrier task forces and bombarding enemy shore installations. Despite their limited combat experience, the Alaskas proved to be valuable assets to the US Navy. Their speed and firepower made them effective in their assigned roles, and their presence in the Pacific theater undoubtedly had a psychological impact on the Japanese. Their service, though brief, provided valuable insights into the capabilities and limitations of large cruisers in modern naval warfare. Section 5. The Battle of the Komandorsky Islands, a Test of Fire. Although the Alaska-class cruisers did not see extensive combat, their involvement in the Battle of the Komandorsky Islands in March 1943 provided a glimpse of their potential. During this engagement, a U.S. task force, including USS Salt Lake City, a heavy cruiser of a previous class, encountered a Japanese surface force that included heavy cruisers and destroyers. The battle was a fierce and confused night action, with both sides exchanging gunfire at close range. The U.S. ships, though outnumbered, fought bravely, and USS Salt Lake City acquitted herself well, inflicting significant damage on the Japanese cruisers. While the Alaska-class cruisers were not present at the Battle of the Komandorsky Islands, the battle highlighted the value of large, heavily armed cruisers in surface engagements. The performance of USS Salt Lake City demonstrated the effectiveness of a heavy cruiser against enemy warships, lending credence to the design philosophy behind the Alaska class.